Hello everyone, I hope you're ready to talk about a rude princess, a domineering elf, and the devil, because this week we watched Ridley Scott's 1985 classic Legend. So let the unicorn hunt begin! Hey everybody, welcome to the second episode of I Remember It Fondly, the Outerhaven's official podcast where we talk about our wasted youth. Basically, what we do is we go back and we watch old films from our childhood, we check out video games we used to play, and we see if the thousands of hours we spent doing those things was all worth it. I, of course, am your host, Cody Maynard. Joining me today is my co-host, Joe. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm good, Cody. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm so ready to talk about Legend and swords and long-haired Tom Cruise.
Let the unicorn hunt begin.
Let the unicorn hunt begin. Also joining us today is our special guest, the lovely Shelby Royal, fellow writer at the Outerhaven. Shelby, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here for sure.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here. I'm so glad that you can come in and talk about Legend because this movie is awesome. This is a big movie from my childhood. I have a lot of fond memories of this film. For those of you who don't know or didn't watch the film, which you should, this isn't a film I think you should miss. You agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think this is a film that definitely needs to watch. Great fantasy epic by master director Ridley Scott. Actually, just 3 years after Blade Runner. So, and actually, when you watch it, you can see a lot of those similar kind of like shots.
All 3 years after Blade Runner.
all 3 years after Blade Runner. Legend is basically that timeless battle of good and evil, light and dark. Tom Cruise plays Jack. Mia Sara, is Lily. Basically, Jack is a little forest child, or teen.
Oh, Peter Pan kind of guy.
He's very Peter Pan-y.
I'm so glad you guys got the Peter Pan vibe because that's all I kept thinking of was Hook.
Sure.
A good majority of the film. I just got that vibe.
Yeah, I felt like he was the prototype for that Peter Pan.
Yeah, because he's wearing green, he's just this sort of energetic, never aging,
so
seemingly. I mean, we only spend a couple days with them. Yeah. Right, so literally 2 whole days.
Is this 2 days?
So if you think about it, yes, in this film, Jack and Lily are young lovers. Lily is a princess, and she goes to the forest to visit Jack sometimes. Basically, he takes her to see the unicorns. He warns her, do not touch the unicorns. That's a no-no. She doesn't listen because she's rude.
Yeah.
And she touches the unicorns and brings on a wintry apocalypse to the forest, right? This is all sort of orchestrated. That just happens. But it's a good thing that happens because darkness, aka the devil, Satan, he looks like Satan. If you watch the film and you've seen any image of Satan or the devil in your life, he's the devil.
But he's just darkness,
Perfect.
Right?
He's just darkness, yeah. But if you listen to the commentary, it wasn't even on the commentary, this was actually a video I saw of the makeup artist. He said he had watched movies for years and saw the devil portrayed, and he never thought any of them were good. And he wanted to make a good devil. Yeah. And I think he did. I think he made the best.
Yeah,
you think so too?
As good as you could do. And it's Tim Curry, by the way.
Exactly. I was about to say, Tim Curry as the devil is already, the best you can do, and then the makeup is just top.
It's masterful. The performance is amazing. So Darkness wants the horns of the unicorn. They hold a magic power. If both unicorns are not on the earth anymore, then there's something like a never-ending dark, is what he hints at, and he can't go out in the light.
And these are the only 2 unicorns. Is that where we're led to believe that these are the only 2? There are a couple, male and a female.
Yes, because right. I mean, there are only 2. We only see 2. Yeah. And I would assume there are only 2 because if there were more unicorns, then Darkness would need to get them as well. It
wouldn't be as grave of a need to try to kill a unicorn.
True. So Lily touches a unicorn. It gets shot in the butt by a poison dart via a little goblin named Blix, who was great. Love Blix. Blix is great.
Blix kind of stole the show for the first quarter of the movie. It was kind of his...
Yeah, well, he's the bad guy for the first half of the movie because we don't even actually see Darkness.
That he was the main antagonist. You would think that he was the one you were supposed to. He was scary.
He was scary.
If you didn't see Darkness, Blix was scary guy.
Well, it's made clear pretty far up front that he is a patsy of Darkness, because the very first scene is Blix going to see Darkness. And Darkness...
most loathsome
yes.
of all of my goblins.
Yeah, and he's like, if you bring me the unicorn horns, I'll make you like a prince or something, right?
Yeah.
All in rhyming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Blix only rhymes. Yeah, Blix doesn't speak out of rhyme, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Darkness does, and others do, but Blix, he's a rhymer.
He's a rhymer.
He's even wrong.
He's like Fezzik.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves to rhyme.
Some of the best lines in the movie were definitely Blix's.
Oh yeah, I have a few of those. We're going to go into some of those. I have some written down. I can't wait to get to them. So yes, they shoot the unicorn. Blix cuts off the horn, and eventually they capture the other unicorn, take it to Darkness's lair, and the rest of the movie is Jack and his forest buddies, Gump and crew, and they're
on a quest.
They're on a quest. They go into Darkness's lair. He also kidnaps Lily. The Darkness is really into Lily.
Yeah.
He's got a real thing for Lily.
Groomed her nicely. The darkest.
He was really trying to groom her. So the rest of the movie is them going to Darkness's lair and trying to rescue the unicorns and Lily. Jack wants to get Lily. I don't think Gump cares. We'll talk about that. He doesn't seem like he really wants. He's like, we gotta help that unicorn.
Gump. He's after the greater cause.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this movie for me, let's get into who has seen the movie, who hadn't. For me, this is a movie from my childhood. My mom was what you might call a party animal. And she went for good and bad. And when I was really young, she took me to some party. Now, I don't really remember a lot of this. I just remember being taken to a party with, there's some people there drinking, and a group of what are, in hindsight, probably the more stonery of the party were just watching Legend. And
they weren't dancing.
No, they weren't partying or playing cards or anything. They were watching Legend, and my mom sat me on the couch at this random house and was like, here, just watch this movie. You're really gonna like it. And that was my first viewing of Legend. I thought it was amazing then. I eventually got it on VHS when I was a kid and watched it a whole bunch of times. So this was a movie, hadn't seen it in years. When I knew we were going to do this, went to Walmart, got the DVD. I picked up Legend and I picked up Army of Darkness, actually, as well. So, either of you, Joe, have you seen Legend before this?
I watched it the other night, and I was sure that I have not seen it. But as me and my wife sat down and watched it, I started realizing just from the imagery, just like, oh yeah, this is something that was on before I could really pay attention to anything. Like, I had a lot of older brothers, or older siblings, and I would watch what they were watching.
Yeah, you're forced to when you're the younger sibling. You kind of got to watch what everybody else is watching, right?
So I think they might have been more on like Team Willow, Team Legend,
Team Willow. Another great movie that I really want to talk about soon.
But this was
Willow
my first.
is fantastic.
Willow's great.
Yeah, this was my first real sit down, appreciative watch of this movie, and I loved it.
You loved it, okay?
Yeah,
great.
I mean, it's Ridley Scott. I knew I would. I'm falling in love with Tom Cruise.
We talked about this. This movie, I mean, Tom Cruise is a great actor. Whether you like him or not, it's sort of indisputable, whatever, that he's a great actor. But this movie reminded me of that a lot because this is one of his first films. I think it's one of his first 5 films or something like that.
Must be.
Yeah, and it's the longest his hair's ever been on film. He didn't phone anything in. There's some fight scenes here and there, and those are scenes that can go really cheesy and I think can go really wrong if you have, it's 80s fight scenes, so they're not always so great, and especially when you have an 80s fantasy type movie, it doesn't always work out. But with Tom Cruise, even when it would just show when they're in Darkness's lair and he's fighting these big slaughterhouse type cooks of the Darkness's dungeon, they're swinging at his feet and he's jumping. It's just shot of his feet jumping.
Yeah.
But every time it would go to his face, he's not phoning it in. He was really into it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It just really reminded me that Tom Cruise deserves his
everything he has.
He's so good.
You can get away with whatever you want, Tom Cruise. You can do it. You've earned it, buddy.
Yeah, he needs your encouragement.
Yeah.
Shelby, so had you seen Legend before watching it for the podcast?
So actually, I kind of have the opposite of Joe. I thought I had seen it before, and then started it up, and I was like, I've never seen this movie before. But when I went to get it at Half Price Books, I pulled it off the shelf and I was like, this is a Ridley Scott film. There's a Ridley Scott film I'm not really familiar with.
Yeah, that's
so
how I
I
felt.
was really, really excited, like right off the bat, that he did it, and Curry is the devil, obviously.
He steals the show. Tim Curry steals the show. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
when he shows
Like,
up, when he finally shows up, yeah.
hands down. But I really, really enjoyed it. There are some really great shots. Like I said before, the makeup and costumes just kind of blew me away. Like, I think it was Blix was the first one you see on screen.
Yep.
Like, that has that makeup, and I couldn't believe how good it still looked, like, even compared to today. Like,
Oh, sure. Even compared
so
to
good.
the first episode we did a couple weeks ago was Masters of the Universe. Another makeup heavy film.
There was a goblin in that movie, or it was a dwarf kind of goblin guy.
I can't even remember his name. What's his name?
Gwildor.
Gwildor. Same actor as Screwball.
Really?
Screwball, yeah.
Yeah, so right off the bat we have a connection. So the guy who played Screwball is Billy Barty. And yes, he was
that's it.
Gwildor from Masters of the Universe. So we have our first repeat offender on I Remember It Fondly. So that's awesome. Yeah, his makeup was great. Legend, not so good in Masters of the Universe. So my favorite makeup is Blix. Well, I don't know, because Tim Curry, you kind of got to give it to Tim
I was
Curry.
about
But
to say.
you do have to give it to Tim Curry, but Blix...
You gotta give it to Tim Curry because I read that during the makeup process, his skin was actually ripped off. Like, he got impatient one day. He was supposed to soak this whatever epoxy that was sticking to his face.
I read this. He got
And he had to
claustrophobic.
soak, and he got impatient. He ripped it off, and he ripped his skin off. I guess Ridley Scott gave him a week off. They kind of filmed around him for the week because he felt bad because he was put through this makeup every day, and that's a full body. Whole thing was full. Like, I was wondering whose body is that because the muscles look so good, and it looked like sinuous.
Look really
muscle.
natural.
Yeah. And I was like, did they just put Tim Curry's head on someone else's body? Was that even possible in 1985? So that blew me away.
Yeah, his makeup was probably the best. I mean, just because of the sheer size and the sheer all-encompassing sort of body makeup that he had on. Yeah. And those horns were awesome.
All the horns, yeah.
They had to remake them a bunch of times because they were giving him neck pains because they jut forward rather than up. So
were they really heavy?
Yeah, well, at first they were heavier, and then the makeup artist kept like working with them to make a way that basically they were weightless after a while, and his neck wasn't so sore, but apparently gave him a really sore neck for the first so many times.
That was one thing I was really wanting to know about this movie was like process.
Not even just Tim Curry. The whole process of this film was crazy. The set, the forest is a set. It's not.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the forest is a set, and it burnt down.
Burnt to the ground.
Really, like, soon into filming. So the rest of it was salvaged and sort of shot behind the lot with, like, the trees they could salvage and stuff like that. Yeah, that's all a set.
That makes
Oh
me
my
wonder.
God.
Did they actually make money off this? Because I know how studios like to just dump money into projects in the 80s.
And it was Ridley Scott. He had done some great stuff.
Yeah.
He had done
he had a lot of
Alien. He had done Blade Runner. So you would think that they would have given Ridley Scott what he wanted. And he did say that he kept, he used all the money they had building this crazy set.
Yeah.
And it burnt down. So there you go. Let's talk about the beginning of the movie. What we see at the beginning is like darkness is light. Right, so we don't start on a happy note. We start on this sort of like setting the tone for what's at stake, or sort of the evil in the land here, and we see Blix sort of like making this trek to Darkness's lair. I really like that idea of not just showing up in starting in Darkness's lair,
he's not
but
just there.
Yeah, he's got to make his way there. It's really cool. Right, so all the way already we see that like Tim Curry's Darkness is pretty established. You got to work to even get to him, even if you're Blix, right?
Right.
So he tells Blix to get, he needs, there's something that disturbs him. I think is something that he says. There's something like disturbing.
Oh, he felt a disturbance in the force.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah. No, that is it. Yeah. No, I felt a disturbance in the forest.
Yeah, that's what he said. I felt a disturbance in the forest.
And I love how Darkness just keeps going on and on and on about it, and Blix is eventually like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like
yeah,
there's a disturbance.
Yeah, Blix does like a really loud gulp, at one point. He's like,
Yeah.
like
Audible gulp.
and he's like, yes, my lord. And he wants to know what it is, and Tim Curry like jams this knife like on his forehead, jutting. He's like, fool! A horn that reaches towards the heavens, straight to heaven, or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I get it, my lord. Now is when we get to Lily and Tom Cruise. So what did you guys think about Lily and Tom Cruise? It's Lily and Jack. Shelby, what did you think about Tom Cruise? So you had hinted that you didn't like either of them.
Yeah, Jack definitely had his moment where I was like, okay, like, he's pretty cool. Lily, I could not stand throughout the entire movie.
Could you not stand Mia Sara as Lily, or could you just not stand Lily as a character?
I just didn't like her as a character. Like, it starts off right away where she's like with Nell for the first time. Obviously, this woman's really good to her, and she like cuts her line down while she's trying to fold clothes or like hang clothes up, and she like
says, "Bloomin' fairies."
Yeah, like, oh, you're not so nice. So I don't know, like,
I guess she just went right in her house and started eating her food.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't you have plenty of food at home, princess?
Like, she should be bringing them food, not the opposite.
Yeah. And Lily really starts off the whole thing. I mean, Blix, he wants to shoot the unicorn to sort of like sedate it so that he can chop off its horn. Well, the only reason he can is because Jack takes Lily to see the unicorns, which he shouldn't do. Okay, we understand later that he shouldn't do, but he does it anyway because he did it for love.
That was his glamour. That's what glamour.
Yeah, sure. Well, he's the pure one.
Yeah.
If you listen to the commentary, Jack is the pure. He can't be. He's unwavering. He's the pure one. Lily is the manipulator, is what Ridley Scott says.
I think that's kind of obvious, like, right off the bat, because, like I said before, you kind of comes across that way.
Yeah, the first time you see her, she's a trickster. She's playing pranks on old ladies. Jack takes her to see the unicorns, and they come. He says, she's like, just goes to touch them. And he's like, you can't do that. He pleads. I think we can agree. He doesn't just say, like, you shouldn't touch him. We're not allowed to touch him. He's like, please. Yeah, he's like, please. Do this. Yeah. Well, he even says, Lily, you mustn't, right? And she's like, no. Mustn't. Yeah. And she wants to anyway.
That was perfect.
And he even says, Lily, you risked your immortal soul. And she's like, I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, he says you must. She literally says, I don't care.
I'm gonna touch that corn.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch that corn. So she goes and touches these unicorns, and that sort of basically what, like, gets the unicorn off guard so that it can be shot by Blix, his little poison dart. I loved his poison dart. I loved it. I don't know if you guys like that scene where he's his like
little pouch.
Yeah, he's got a little pouch, and it's like a little steaming, bubbling little black.
It's hot in there.
It's hot, and he puts his little dart in there, and he's like,
a lot of time spent in the prop just for that one time you see that. It's just such care took into making
that's really Scott.
Prop just built world.
That's Ridley Scott. I mean, we could talk about some of those props. We could talk about that sweet timepiece that Gump has later. But I mean, what does Blix say at that point? Because the other two.
That might not be in. Did you watch the director's cut?
Oh,
Shelby?
yes. Did you watch the director's cut or the theatrical version, Shelby?
Director's cut.
Oh, nice. So you saw Blix's little timepiece, his little bubble ball.
Yeah.
I actually think that's the only cut he wants released right now. Like,
and I read that Tom Cruise
cut so much out of it before, just because people said it was too long.
I read that Tom Cruise wouldn't talk about the movie forever because he thought the director's cut was the only cut that you should talk about or see. Yeah.
I was a little confused, like the act of her touching the unicorn. If Blix didn't shoot the unicorn in the butt, would her just touching it, would that have made any kind of impact in this world, you think?
Well, Gump seems pretty pissed.
He was pissed
that she even touched the unicorn. So, okay, Gump is another like forest sprite type person, right? Like an elf. I think he does say he's an elf.
He's Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, doesn't it look like Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle? I told Joe this earlier. I was like,
I just recently watched Children of the Corn. So
he has
totally
he has a Children of the Corn-esque look.
Oh, totally. Like the the little one with the dark hair who's like in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's got a lot of the fantasy look. And did you guys know that this is rumored to be the inspiration for The Legend of Zelda? Yeah.
I did read that, yeah.
Yeah, which
that
it makes a lot
of sense.
Oh,
yeah.
it makes so much sense because
Link and Jack's character.
Jack's got the green tunic, he's got the hair, he goes and gets the sword and shield to take down a big horned beast, and it's The Legend of Zelda.
Very.
So what, Blix gets the unicorn horn, he cuts it off. As soon as basically Lily touches the unicorn and it gets shot, like the score changes, and Jack's pissed. He turns and just walks away.
Yeah.
I love that scene. He wouldn't even watch. He wouldn't even watch her touch it.
Because that's wrong.
Yeah, he wouldn't even watch it. He's out of there.
And it took a while for me to like really realize the gravity of the unicorn situation.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing of unicorn.
So the scene where Blix cuts off the unicorn's horn is amazing. All these pink petals are swirling around, covering the area. It's a really amazing shot.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing scene, and the score in this film really drives the film. So the score, especially in the director's cut, because I think it's not a score for the theatrical release. It was removed, and there's
I would
a band.
I'd actually kind of like to hear what they did. It's like I felt like the score just moved.
It propels the film along, I feel like, and it lets you know. The score really lets you know what is happening in the film. So when she touches the unicorn and it eventually gets its horn cut off, it's everything. The score changes everything even before the winter happens. So that is really cool. I love the idea of only one unicorn has been. It's not even killed because they're both alive at the end. Spoiler. The unicorn gets its horn cut off. Only one of them, and everything goes into a winter apocalypse, right? Actually, time is stood still because Lily and Jack have a little moment where they're like all getting all lovey-dovey again. He's like kind of forgiving her, you know what I mean? And she's like, "Whoever finds this ring will marry me."
Oh my god.
Yes. And then she chucks it off of a cliff.
And it's all done in slow motion.
Yeah,
like
and
this entire scene.
That's so like, I don't know. She's like, well, there it goes, and
as a princess, I
have a right to set a challenge for my suitor.
My suitors.
Yeah. So while Jack is under there looking for quite some time,
in the span of time that he can hold his breath,
in the
he must have gills.
What?
Yeah.
I said he must have gills.
Yeah.
He must have gills because in the time it takes him to go down, search for a while, he doesn't find it because it's getting, you just can't find
keeps
it.
falling further and further down.
We do
to
see
like
these shots.
Valley, like a little,
we see these
rift.
shots of it going down further. But in the time it takes him to go down there and come back up, he hits his head on ice,
like 9 inches of ice.
Oh, it's so thick, and the lake has frozen over. It's snowing everywhere. The lake has frozen
That's
over.
some powerful magic.
That's really powerful, and that's what I was saying. Like, it's crazy that only one unicorn dying caused that. What would have happened if both unicorns died? I mean, obviously, perpetual darkness.
That's like huge
Number one.
stakes.
Number one, perpetual darkness. Okay, check.
Yeah, such huge stakes for this quest that they have to go on now.
Yeah, what do you guys think would have happened if the second unicorn would have died?
God, I don't even want to know because like perpetual winter seems bad enough.
But perpetual dark winter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even get me started. That's like,
Don't even joke about that.
it's like living in Ohio.
Right?
So I thought that was really cool. He like breaks out of the ice, and what's the first thing he says? Lily.
Yeah.
In slow motion.
Yeah, in slow motion, he yells Lily all around, and she's gone. She took off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why did she take off? I was thinking about this. Why did she take off? She wasn't being pursued.
See what happened?
No, she didn't see the unicorn lose its horn. She wasn't there for that. She went back and tried to look
Was
for.
she just kind of scared by the weather?
She thought
Doesn't
that she
she-
scared the unicorn.
Doesn't she go? I thought she went straight back to Nell's house.
She does,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
She goes there. So this brings me to a question I want to talk about, guys. Who is mortal and who is not mortal? Okay, so I have big questions about this. Now the film jumps around, and to me, it's confusing.
Because all the mortals are frozen.
So okay, at first appearances, Jack and Lily are human, right? Shelby, would
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
so too? Like,
I definitely got that vibe with Lily. Jack, right away, I kind of got but like he could go either way.
A sort of immortal little forest guy.
Forest sprite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a forest spirit of
Sure.
some kind.
Sure, yeah.
But I got
he
right
does-
away.
He does give that because he
Or a
is
lost boy.
a lost boys.
Lost boys.
But he is very like in tune with the forest, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he's sort of like, oh, you know, he like knows all about it. And so, but here's the thing. So we think Lily's human, right? Well, when everything freezes and Lily goes to Nell's house, Nell is frozen in time. Basically, right? Because she's standing, her eyes are open, she's still standing, her husband's like over there sleeping still, like he was when we first saw him.
Yeah.
He doesn't get anything done. He's just like, I'm gonna sleep all day. I'm not gonna notice when some little hussies in my house eating my bread.
He had a line in the movie, but that was the one scene Ridley Scott decided to cut out.
So Nell and her husband are frozen solid. And those are the only two people we know are humans that we see. So,
There's a baby.
oh, it's frozen too.
That was kind of sad.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Oh man, sad.
Womp womp.
Oh well. Anyway, so Lily goes there and she's like, Nell, huh? And she sees Nell's frozen, and Blix says this. So she gets scared because she's in there. She's like, what's going on? You know, everything's frozen and it's all stood still. And then she hears Blix and his two buddies riding up the way. What are their names again? So we have Blunder, who is a funny. I think it's Pox and Blunder.
Yeah.
I think Pox is like a hog faced.
Yeah, he's the pig guy.
I
Type.
loved his makeup.
Yeah, and then
So
and then Blunder is a guy that has a helmet on, so we never really know what he is. He's got this helmet on. He's like a sort of a little goblin with a helmet, and he's got a weird little bird arm. If you guys look, he has like a bird claw,
Yeah.
feathery bird claw.
Yeah,
which
it's a-
in the deleted scene we find out how he gets that.
Yeah, Blunder like kind of reminded me of like the Castle Crasher dudes.
Oh
Who, like,
yeah,
have the huge like helmet and then little
he's got
tiny
this, like,
bodies.
The little horned helmet, and
Yeah.
it's like a big gold like cage face
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he really does. I love him. I love some of his lines. I'm gonna talk about those.
Yeah,
but
too.
Blix's line when they show up, they say something like, "We're hungry." You
Yeah.
can hear them say this, so they're coming there to eat Nell, which they don't. I'm like, why didn't they eat the people? But they get in there, they have the unicorn horn, and they're kind of like playing around with it. They're like so excited about how it does magic.
Yeah.
You know, Blix is at least. He's like, oh, I'm gonna blow this bowl up, and he's not really doing much. He's just doing parlor tricks.
Fire,
Right.
fire, burning fire.
Yeah, making music like a choir. When he's on his way, or when he gets in there, he says, mortal world turned to ice, here be goblin paradise. Right? So think about that. Mortal world turned to ice, here be goblin paradise. Why isn't Lily frozen if she's human?
Here's what I was thinking. I was thinking because she touched the unicorn, because of her proximity to the act, and she has some kind of connection with the unicorn now. That might have protected her from whatever spell, whatever dark magic.
Okay.
That's a good thought. I can see that.
And Jack was right
Something
there.
rubbed off on her.
Yeah, then maybe she rubbed a little bit on Jack.
But here's the other thing. When Lily goes to touch the unicorn, Jack says, Lily, you risk your immortal soul.
Yeah.
Okay, so now are we just talking about her
I
soul
was thinking her soul.
is immortal? Not her,
Her
right?
soul. Her soul that will live on when she dies.
I just don't see why she's not frozen.
Why is she not frozen?
Well, see, I always thought like maybe like part fairy or something, because she does
Lily?
cut that. Yeah, because when she like cuts that line down, Nell says like blooming fairies.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
hey.
I just figured like maybe she's kind of like a mix.
So maybe
She's a fairy princess.
well, so yeah, that's a good idea. If we are in a world where
Because she
goblins and stuff like that exist, maybe even the royal line itself has some sort of magic in it.
Yeah.
Which
'Cause
would go back to the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, that's very true. And maybe we never see the king or anybody, so I'd like
Or
to.
castle.
I'd like to know if they were frozen.
Or castle.
Well, most of the set burnt down.
Castle
Maybe
burnt
the
down.
maybe the castle burnt down.
They couldn't salvage that.
No.
she was very Disney princessy. She sang. A bird would land on her. She could
Oh, she sang a lot.
Yeah.
Can we talk about her songs for a second though? Like,
Yeah.
Do you know any lyrics?
Could you sing some of that for us?
Trust me, you don't want anything. But like,
No.
just the lyrics themselves like made no sense.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They were really weird. I agree. It was. I didn't like it ever. And then at the very end, he's like, "Will you sing for me,
Will you
Lily?"
sing that one song?
I was like, "Don't."
Could you
Why?
Could we not have that song again? But I do love, Blix's rhymes when he's like, here be Goblin Paradise and all these
Yeah.
things. He says some great things. A lot of people said great things. I love Blunder's, the Castle Crasher guy.
Yeah.
I love his lines. Like, so when they first see the unicorn, he goes, "Look, ugly one-horned mule." And
One of my favorite lines is a little later.
Which one?
It's like when go back to the unicorn horn and they go back to the lair.
Are they in the
and-
lair, or is it when they're around the fire and they're sort of playing around?
Maybe it's that, but either way, darkness comes in and they're like, "Oh, we have this unicorn horn now. Like, we're gonna be in charge."
Yeah,
And-
okay, yeah. So this
yeah.
is like Blix himself is having so much fun
Yeah.
with the unicorn horn. And darkness comes, and then Pox, he says, "Blix, Blix," and Blix doesn't notice that darkness is like hovering behind him, and he goes, "Big D." So what line were you talking about?
They say like, "Oh, the goblins are a new race of power," or whatever, and then darkness made one of the skeletons on the ground like grab his foot. And he's like, "Shit, it was just a joke." Like, sorry.
He says, me and Joe were talking about, he's like, "Shit."
One of my like favorite parts of the whole movie, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I
And
died.
these guys were so slapsticky. These were the this was the comic relief were the goblins.
Another good laugh was the skeleton just jumped. He grabs him and just jumps off the cliff with him.
Yeah.
Like that's such a good tactic for an undead minion.
You just jump down the
Yeah.
hole of yourself. Yeah, you're not gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a mummy. It's like a mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wakes up and gets him. He's like, "Shit!" He grabs his leg and like picks him up. He's like, "Hey, I didn't mean it." And then he goes, and then he says, I think he says, does he say adios?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
This is adios.
I think he says adios amigos as he goes down. I can't remember. I need to see that.
I think he
scene.
said hasta la vista, baby.
So I did love those guys. They had some great lines when they were looking at Lily Blunder. I think again, he's like, "She looks so sweet. I could eat her brains like jam."
That's actually one of my lines that I had written down because
It's so
I
great.
just
What was
thought it
the
was so great.
What was the one rhyme he said? She's sweet, but not half as much as rotting meat.
Oh, that was Blix.
Blix.
He goes, "Maybe innocent, maybe sweet,
Yeah.
not half as nice as rotting meat." Yeah, he's real fucked up. Blix is real fucking dark.
He's the most loathsome
Yeah,
of
yeah,
all of his goblins.
yeah. Are you not the most lonesome of all my goblins? And he's like, "Of course, my lord." So after this happens, the one unicorn is like practically dead. It's not dead, but it's like comatose,
Yeah.
right? And
Covered in snow.
Jack falls asleep. When we next see Jack, he's asleep in the snow.
I thought that was just part of the spell. She was able to wake him up.
Yeah, Una, the little fairy, woke him up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hey,
Una-
Tinkerbell.
AKA Tinkerbell.
Yeah, no, that was yeah.
Yeah, Una wakes him up, and so I'm okay with him sleeping in the snow. He's immortal. He can just sleep in 6 inches of snow wearing nothing but a green tunic, completely bare-legged. He was all right. He was good. When he wakes up, he's fine. He's just hopping
Yeah.
around the forest with
Shook
Gump.
it off.
So this is where we meet Gump and Gump's buddies, Screwball. These are, I would say, those guys are dwarves.
Yeah. You have a little kid and then little men.
Well, I love this because Gump
Little
is
kid is little.
Little men.
in Little Men.
Yeah.
Gump is in charge. Gump is clearly the younger one. Now, that actor is actually 19.
Really?
No.
Or eight-
way.
Yeah,
Wow.
or 18. 18 or 19, Ridley Scott says in the commentary. He
Wow.
loved him. He had seen him in a different movie, and he loved him, and he's like, "I want him in there." So he was actually the same age as Tom Cruise and Mia Sara.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
wow.
all within like a year or two of each other.
Wow. He called himself the forest child, or what did he call himself? Something child.
I don't know. I don't remember, but I do love Gump. I think he's
Yeah.
more of an interesting character than the movie even lets you see, because
Oh yeah.
so when we first see Gump, which he's got a great voice too.
I love
He's-
that it's
yeah.
not his voice.
It's not his voice. It's the same
that,
voice
yeah.
as Blix.
I love
It's-
that.
Yeah.
It's the same woman who did Blix's voice. But so he looks just like Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. He looks like a forest.
Like a
Malcolm in the
young-
Middle. Malcolm in the Middle was raised by dwarves. He would look like Gump. I would like to see another episode of Malcolm in the Middle where his family is dwarves and they just live in the woods. Yeah. They should redo that.
should
Reboot
redo that
it.
show.
Yeah, and Bryan Cranston
I was
as
about
Darkness.
to say, yeah.
But I love Gump. So Gump is like really mystical because of bubbles. Well, there's like bubbles everywhere.
Yeah.
There's like all these bubbles in the scene.
Crank those bubble machines up full blast for this scene.
Oh yeah, Ridley Scott's like, this I
Waste
want.
no expense.
No. How much do we have left on the budget?
Yeah.
More bubbles.
He had extras over there just dipping bubble wands and big balls of bubble eggs, blowing their lungs out.
People passing out. No.
Yeah.
So Gump is basically like in charge of the forest. He's like appears to be a child, but he's the one in charge because he yells at those. Oh, he yells at Screwball and those guys all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, he
doesn't
forces
cut
them to
them
do
any
so
slack.
much. He cuts them no slack.
No slack.
Yeah. When they're in Darkness's forest or fortress and he wants to split, he's like, go! He like looks at him so mean. He's like, just go.
Like with such
Gosh,
disgust.
Screwball. Yeah. He's like, I have no time for your shit, Screwball. Go. But what I loved is he like is so pissed at Jack. You know, he's like,
Right.
what? Well, so here's what he says. He says he's all-knowing, okay? So Gump is like, I know everything that goes on in this forest, Jack. Because he's like, you know my name? Or something. And he's like, of course. He's like, not a elf in this land doesn't know you or something. And he's like, I know everything that goes on in this forest. Gump is a fucking liar. He doesn't know shit. So, okay. He's like, I know everything that goes on in this forest. Immediately, Jack says, so can you tell me what's going on with the winter? And he says, I'd be a powerful wizard indeed if I didn't answer that. I was like,
I didn't even catch on to that. You're so right there.
yeah, I was like, what the hell, Gump? I thought you knew
I
everything in
think
this
he had a
forest.
little bit of posturing there just to, because he was like the big guy.
He's just trying to get it out of. Oh, you mean he was puffing himself up?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I know everything in this
Yeah.
forest. Okay, yeah, probably. And he's in front of all his little dwarf friends, so
Yeah,
he can't let them know that he doesn't know what's going on. But he is so pissed because Jack's like, he's like, maybe you could tell me what happened in the forest, and Jack's like, I took Lily to see the unicorns. He's like, you did what?
Yeah.
He is so mad. Which again, in another scene, reinforcing Lily's mortal body. He's like, a mortal. He's like, oh God, Gump, she touched it. Right? Oh God, Gump, she touched it. He's like, a mortal laid hands on the unicorn.
Yeah. In that performance, that's just another thing that like it reinforces the stakes that have been laid by.
Oh yeah, if she even touched it,
unicorn.
they don't even know that the horn's gone.
Yeah.
When you think
Oh,
about it,
that's true. Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah.
Nobody even saw that. So he's
As
like,
far as knows,
he just thinks
by
that
her
they touched it. Yeah.
is causing this.
He's like, mortal laid hands on a unicorn. Like he's like, and then Jack tells him, he's like, I did it for love.
I love that.
And then he's like, okay. They're like, okay, cool.
just meeting
Let's
him.
drink.
Well, he had to answer
Right.
the riddle for forgiveness.
He did have to answer a riddle. Yeah.
That was just for Gump's forgiveness.
And Gump was pissed when Jack got the
Oh,
riddle
yeah.
right. He broke his violin.
Oh yeah.
He smashed his violin.
The part with the violin right before, like when he was asking the riddle, it was so great because he was like, you heard the violin play
His
without
death
him playing it.
song.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
Pretty
great.
awesome.
It was
Very
great.
cool.
I loved his performance.
Yeah, David Bennett is the actor, and he did a really good job. I really
Yeah.
loved it. And I guess he's German. He has like a German accent, and Ridley Scott really wanted that, but then it didn't. They ended up redubbing it.
They switched the voices out for the German
They
release.
ADR'd the whole thing, which is great because his lips moving match everything perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
the best ADR ever.
So I was thinking that maybe they just didn't like his voice because he was I thought he was a little kid. I thought he was maybe like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, no, he's like
And
18,
maybe he just
19.
didn't have like, he wasn't able to
He was an adult.
yeah. Oh,
That's
so good.
I still can't get over that he was like 19 years
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little guy. He probably got along with Tom Cruise pretty well. They're both short.
Yeah.
He's
old.
like,
Probably.
yeah, I love that he asks like all this. He's all pissed. And then when Jack says he did it for love, he's like, oh, cool. He's like, well, that's another story. And then he's like, Brown Tom, give me a drink. And the guy's like,
Oh, yeah.
this is my wine. And his hat keeps like wine in
Pops
his hat.
off.
Yeah.
He takes his
Last bottle of my best wine.
Gump like puts his hand up and he has a little shot things like thimble-sized shot glasses on his tips of his fingers, and they all take one and build it up. He's like, "Oh, careful now, Uncle." He's like, "Don't be spilling it." And they all have a little shot.
And I love that Tom is the one in charge of the unicorn.
Oh, I wanted to talk about this. Worst bodyguard ever.
You understand the stakes of this unicorn dying and protecting this other one.
Yeah. So what happens is they go looking for a sword and shield. He says you need some armor, right?
And this is like where the quest really kind of starts.
Yeah, sure.
This is like
they know they need a hero.
The classic fantasy quest.
Yeah, exactly. They need a hero, so they're like, oh, Jack will do, right? So they go to get a sword and shield.
Well, he didn't think so.
Oh, Jack?
He was the reluctant hero.
He's not in it for the fame.
Yeah.
Okay. He just wants to save Lily. He really doesn't even care about the unicorns that much.
Yeah.
But he's very sorry, though. So before they go get the sword and shield, Jack says sorry to the surviving unicorn.
Yeah, before they leave.
So this unicorn's very sad. It's sort of like, prancing around. It's not prancing because that's a happy thing, but he's sort of hanging out around the fallen unicorn, the hornless one.
This is the mare. This is the female unicorn.
Yeah, the mare is the one alive. Darkness points out many times. Jack says sorry to it. He wants to say sorry to it, and he goes over and he's like on his knees. He says sorry, and the score is just awesome, and that is really moving. I thought that scene was really moving.
You needed that.
Yeah, Shelby, did you like that scene?
Yeah, no, I totally loved it. But I really got to understand what a beautiful scene really that was.
The lighting is really cool. It's like blue. Mm-hmm. It's lit from underneath, so there's this like great light on the unicorn like from underneath. Yeah. Jack is like positioned lower. It's a very spiritual scene.
Just the whiteness.
Yeah, the unicorn is like a god because as we understand in the film anyway.
Light. I was thinking the unicorn might be one of the better actors in the movie.
So this is like when they start going to darknesses.
Yeah.
So I really love this because they first see Meg Mucklebones.
Another Star Trek Voyager connection.
Before we move on too far, when Jack goes to get the armor and stuff.
Oh, Una?
And he sees Una in like her true form.
Yeah, right. So she was just a little light at first, right?
Oh yeah, she shows herself to Jack.
Yeah. And she's like, keep my secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you pretty much feel like she's got a thing for Jack. Right?
Oh, right away.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And that comes into play later.
Yeah.
So and she, you know what? I like the makeup. It was very makeup of Una. She was not pretty. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And I loved that about her. Actually,
as the movie went on, I started liking her a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Like even finding her more like attractive. As like a. She's just this little light.
But I liked how she was. She had like all these sort of the glittery things that maybe a fairy would have, but she wasn't like blonde, pretty Tinkerbell.
Yeah. It's just so cool how you like introduce a character as like a glittering little point of light, but that can be a character. That was already a character like that was traveling with them before you meet a human or an actor. Yeah, which is great.
And then it becomes Una the full. Sized person, and that's really cool. Yeah. They slide down into a dungeon.
A convenient slide.
And very convenient for your enemies to slide right into the dungeon, right? So, and who do they find down there? Our old buddy Blunder.
Blunder.
I loved it. He's like, oh yeah, you better be careful, or you'll be eaten down here. And they're like, who are you?
This is when, this is the reveal.
Yeah, he takes his Castle Crasher's helmet off. And he's like Screwball's brother?
Yeah, it turns out he's one of the brothers. He's one of the boys.
He's one of the boys.
He was just, he was deep cover. Was that what it was? Was it deep, or was he just trying to save it? Was he just trying to like save his? He was like
deep cover.
He was deep cover. He was in deep. You blew my cover, guys.
Oh shit!
I was almost out of here.
Yeah.
But he uses some language in here that is some less period stuff. He's like, yeah, you'll be fricasseed. He says, and you'll be barbecue. And Screwball does his little the actor who does that. He did this in a lot as Gwildor, where he closes this one eye, and looking around with his other ones, and he's like, barbecue.
Referencing his affinity for barbecue that he carried over to the Masters of the Universe.
Oh Oh, when he ate the barbecue
when he drank the
chicken.
barbecue sauce.
He's like eating barbecue chicken and ribs and that actor just really loves barbecue.
Really loves barbecue.
He's like, it's in my contract. I don't play a role unless I'm gonna be able to eat barbecue or talk about barbecue.
It's like, I want barbecue offset, and then when I'm doing scenes, I want barbecue.
Crowd service, they're getting a fucking barbecue over here. Billy Barty's about to walk off set. So the dude gets taken away, Blunder, by one of these like really gross chefs that we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
They're like these big old pig face. They kind of got like some snout stuff going on, right? You were saying they're really orc-like, Shelby, right?
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe.
Yeah, me too. And they're just like chopping people in the background.
That's
right?
like
It's like they're
the
chopping
same
that guy
in the same motion.
Yeah, but
like,
he's not
over and
dying.
over.
He's getting chopped, but he's still like
That's his hell, man. Perpetually chopped.
gets chopped. And oh,
He
wow.
heals and he chops again.
Man.
But yeah, Jack gave away Una's secret.
He's like, well,
He
I
was
can
kind
just
of
go
pissed
get the
about
key.
it. Una was pissed about it.
So pissed. Like she's like, they can't get out, and Jack says, Una can get us out.
She can go get the key.
And then she kind of even talks as a light, doesn't she? She's like, our secret, Jack, or something. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a smaller voice.
yeah. He can hear. Well, and I like how like Gump is always like kind of talking to her in his hands.
Yeah,
He's always kind of
'cause
like,
he's like protecting her.
Yeah.
You know.
well, when the thing comes by, the slaughter dude comes by
Yeah.
to like get some meat to fricassee. They're like all hiding.
Yeah, he's very like he was very protective of her. Just
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like holding her in a little his hands. He's like talking
Yeah.
to her though too. They have a little conversation.
Yeah,
they have like
makes
some sidebars.
makes you feel like they have like a really very deep relationship.
Yes, they have a
Which-
deeper relationship, and I think, and he is pissed.
That's why he's so mad about
Yeah.
that secret. Yeah.
He is almost more mad than Una is. What does he call her? He calls her something. He calls her a name because he's mad that
Yeah.
she. This is another example that Gump doesn't know what he's fucking talking about.
Yeah.
He says he knows everything going on in the woods. He didn't know that Una can go in full form.
I mean, that must have been something she just kept so close.
For sure, yeah. So she lets them out, but first she tries to glamour Jack. She says, "I'll let you guys out if you kiss me." And he's like,
Oh,
"No, no,
yeah?
no." Yeah. He's like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
gives her a little kiss. She's like, "That's not a kiss. I want to feel it. I want a real kiss." And she turns into Lily. She
Yeah.
she glamours him, and he almost falls for it. Right? She talks as Lily, and he almost falls for it. And he's like, "No!" He like shakes it away, shakes his head. And he's like, "It's just fairy glamour." And this is another repeat because in Masters of the Universe, Evil Lynn pretended to be Courtney Cox's
Yeah.
mom and took on the form of her and convinced her to give her the key
Yeah.
that they needed. I was like, oh, 2 in a row of pulling the old fast one where you thought I was this person you loved, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah. But they let her out, and basically this is where it gets real. They're out.
It does. It kind of is. There's a shift
Yeah.
after this. They're in Darkness's lair, and it gets
They're going deeper and
You
deeper.
can feel the darkness.
While this is all going on, Lily is being wooed by Darkness.
Yeah.
Right? So
This
Let's
was
talk
another one
about-
of my favorite scenes.
yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. This was great. This is where Darkness is trying to woo her. And so what did you like about it?
I really love, there's like a character dressed in this really dark gown, and you don't see like the face or anything.
Well,
Sparkly,
apparently-
like blackness.
Apparently, Ridley Scott said it is just a dress that's
Really?
dancing. Yeah.
By
So
shining
what
hands.
happens with the dress?
So this dress kind of shows up, and it looks like she's kind of hesitant of it at first, and then she starts dancing with the dress, and then she's wearing the dress, and has like her makeup and hair has gone all like gothic and really cool, and that's when after that is when she sees the devil for the first time, right?
He steps through a mirror. Yeah.
Steps through the mirror, and then she's like, oh shit, maybe I'm not about this. Like, it's
Yes.
like the minute she sees him, she's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Huge,
Like,
red, horned, goat-legged dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real bad
Uh-huh.
dude.
Oh,
He's huge.
Huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's towering.
He's frightening.
but I
Right.
thought it was a really cool way of like bringing him best
Yeah.
big reveal.
Yeah, and they have a really interesting play back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
he's like wooing her, but she's sort of like really giving it to him. She's like resisting, but you don't know. She's like kind of playing and laughing. And he gets
Yeah.
so pissed.
Yeah,
he's like,
his courtship is it's kind of touchy there.
he's like, go ahead and sit and talk with me. She's like, no, I'd rather stand. He's like, sit. And he's like, or stand.
Stand.
Yeah. or stand.
Whatever your heart desires.
He totally cuffs it back. He's like, okay, it was a little strong.
He reins it in.
I was coming along a little strong right there. He's like,
I realize that.
or stand.
Sorry.
Or stand.
Whatever.
It's totally fine.
Cool, I'm a cool guy.
And he says, he's so quick to call her out. He's like, eat. And she goes, I'm not hungry. He goes, you lie.
That whole interaction is just fabulous. Just
Yeah.
one big argument. Really.
You know what's awesome about Tim Curry and all of his minions? Well, he has, they're so ugly and it's like they're not charming in any way.
Yeah.
Which like he's not like meant to be beautiful, but like kind of is.
He's grand.
Is very like very he has a huge stature. And he's charming. You know, he's like
Right.
the way he speaks. And he's like, and he manages to be charming, yet be like fucking Satan.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the devil's tongue kind
Yeah,
of
he's the
thing.
devil's tongue.
Yeah.
But he does it so beautifully.
And
I just love like how not suave he is, like at all.
he cannot hide his anger.
Yeah.
No, like it's like Belle in Beauty and the Beast, like when she first gets there and like constantly yelling at her all the time, like
Yeah.
this does not come across well at all.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott said
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast
Big
is a huge
inspiration.
influence on this film, and Snow White.
I
Yeah.
could see that
Easy
totally.
to see.
Yep. And the whole time this is happening, Tom Cruise, you know, she stops him. She kind of like appeases him because he gets really pissed at one point and starts stomping towards her. Right?
Yeah.
He's gonna kill her. I mean, it looks like he's reached his limit, and he's like, "Yep, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna, get real pissed now." And she says, she's like, "No." She laughs and she's like, "I want to cut the unicorn's throat. Basically, I want to be the one to kill the unicorn." And he loves it. Oh, he's like he like sucks it in.
You're into that too?
Oh, we're perfect. I didn't know you like killing unicorns. Yeah. Oh, the way he laughs is so.
Yeah.
Oh, he relishes in it.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves it. And I mean, I can't even I'm not even gonna attempt to recreate that.
Slow. No, you can't.
No, maybe I'll put that I'll edit that in the podcast. You can hear it. Maybe I'll edit that in.
That'll be our like introduction.
Oh god, it's so bad. But
Special theme song this week will just be Tim Curry laughing.
no, that'd be crazy. Every week, we just make that the theme, and just Tim Curry as darkness laughing.
Then y'all sit at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sit.
Sit!
That would be great. Yeah, sit. Listen to the podcast.
Listen to this damn podcast.
Good. Now that everybody's in their seats. But so the whole time this is happening, they're going through. Jack and Gump and friends are basically making their way. They've realized that the way to beat darkness is to bring light down, because as he said in the beginning, he says darkness is my destroyer, or sunlight is my destroyer, and he says this again to Lily.
Yeah.
While they are spying on Lily in darkness. So they're like, oh, okay, we'll reflect some light down here. So they get a bunch of shiny shit from the kitchen, so these impossibly large platters. Yeah, so their goal is to shine light from the top of a well all the way down and through, reflect it off things all the
Yeah.
way, which is very Link.
Yeah, that
it's
was
very
it. I
Zelda.
mean,
I
It's
love,
very
like-
Zelda.
Like
Yeah.
they're looking up the like hole, and I think it's Gump, and he's like, "Oh, it'd take a pea pod pixie to make that climb."
And then, what the hell is a Peapod Pixie? And then Screwball eyes it with his one eyeball again, and he's like, I'll do it.
I do it.
He's like, yeah, I can make it. And I thought that was funny. And oh yeah, Gump always says some crazy shit. At that one point, he's like, all right, what? So they do this thing where they synchronize, right? They're like synchronized watches,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh yeah.
Which is such a
Two
modern.
very different timepieces they have too.
Oh, this was great. Yeah, he's like synchronized watches, which isn't a thing in fantasy genre, really, right? But
No, go ahead.
Screwball pulls out a watch, or Brown Tom. One of them has like a big,
it was more
big
like a
watch,
recognizable clock.
and
kind of thing.
Gump has like a crystal ball with water in it, with like a
Yeah.
rabbit on it, and like a bird.
Is there a rabbit on it?
There was like little images of shit on it. What did you think about that, Shelby? That's so funny.
I just thought it was so funny when he's like, "Okay, in like 3 minutes of a blue jay's heartbeat."
Yeah.
What he says is, he says, "We'll meet back here in twice 500 beats of a bluebird's heart."
Which I was thinking, Ridley Scott spent a lot of time coming up with these units of time, like for his fantasy world building. That he's like, and I cut it out. He cut it out of his original cut. He's like, I gotta put that back in there. That was gold.
Yeah. Yeah. They sat around, they figured out just how to tell time for forest fairies and elves.
What did Brown Tom? He wanted to add a few thumps of a.
Yeah, he wanted to add a few thumps of something. Some other animal.
And at the end, because Tom and Screwball are like a little late meeting back up with them.
Yeah.
And Gump's like, oh, and 3 more swishes of a badger's tail. And we would have left you behind.
That's not a lot of time.
That's great. He was like, we can't say minutes. He's like, we can't say do this in a couple hours. We gotta come up with. They're not using hours, not using minutes.
It's very true. Yeah. I mean, they're letting you in the world, and they go. That would have totally taken me
to
out say
of it,
I'll be back here in 10 minutes. What do they know? What's a minute in
Legend
world?
Yeah.
So basically, they realize they need to reflect all this light, and Darkness and Lily are about to kill the unicorns.
There's this,
sacrifice the last unicorn.
A ceremony.
It's like a really weird culty thing. All of a sudden, there's more people. We went the whole movie with only seeing like 6 people, and then all of a sudden there's all these weird like cloaked and hooded figures in like Darkness's lair. I thought that was really weird and interesting. There they are. There's all the other people, other than Nell, and
and they have the unicorn tied up.
And they're gonna kill it, and it looks like Lily's gonna deal this blow.
She's like has a raised like dagger kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is this when Gump and Jack are like up on that ledge?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jack has the bow, and Gump's like, kill her.
Oh. Because it looks like she's gonna kill the unicorn.
Yeah. That's a super serious part of the movie. That's this is the climax.
Right.
Right now.
It's like right before he releases the arrow, Jack is like, I'm gonna trust you, Lily.
Yeah.
And he shoots Darkness like right in the neck.
Shoots Darkness. He shoots him. She comes down and cuts the chain?
She cuts the chain. Yeah.
She had a sword.
So it looks like she's gonna kill the unicorn. Gump is really pushing him. He's like, just kill her, Jack. She's one of them now.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. He's like, I'll do it. He's like about to shoot her. He's like, no, I'll do it. Let me. And he shoots.
He was. Oh man, they were both so serious.
Yeah, it was a really serious part of the. I liked it a lot. But
Stakes.
she cuts the unicorn's chain. She's like, run!
Yeah.
And Darkness like hits her. She like flies 10 feet.
Backhands her.
It's like
he backhands her. He's like, you bitch.
He was really blinded by his attraction to Lily.
Well, that's the thing. He's a flawed beast. He's a flawed, light and dark. He's darkness. He's the devil. He's very flawed. He's lusty. He's all these things, and she, as Ridley Scott puts it, is the manipulator. So she manipulates Jack, or tries, which she can't really. It's his own fault that he took her to see the unicorn. It wasn't through.
Yeah, she didn't ask for that.
I don't think she asked for that. So so she really never could manipulate Jack, but she did manipulate Darkness.
And she was his only weakness. I mean, she was really Jack's only kind of.
So then Darkness and Jack really have it out. They fight it up.
And they actually fight. Yeah, like they managed to have a fight.
When Darkness charges at him and pins him
frightening
with his huge horns. Frightening.
He charges so fast, and it's just you feel it. The camera kind of shakes a little bit, and then it's kind of low, and he kind of
that's when you really see like his power, his like muscular, his like physicality coming into play as Darkness. He's not just like hitting cups off of a table mad at Lily.
Right.
He's like I'm gonna.
Well, it's like the first time you really get to see him like as the Lord of Darkness. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. So these are his true colors.
Yeah.
He's at his best.
Which that's kind of a trope for Satan. He shows you his only when he has no other option.
Or with any sort of manipulator, or sort of like figure that tries really hard and it doesn't work. So now they just have to reduce to just killing you. The shot. So he pretty much ends up kicking Darkness's ass a little bit, but the light comes. Finally, the light. Finally, all the light ends up refracting through the hole.
Which the speed of light I think might be a little slower
in Legend. Well, Una had to get all the way to the top. And wake up Screwball, and they had to do the thing. So they get the light finally. It like I like when it blasted through because it goes really fast when you think about it.
Well, I mean,
fast. It should go faster.
It's kind of like you can see it, which is cool.
But then it blasts through those doors that Blunder's like standing in front of him. He's like, ugh, like covers his hands. It just like he had to have gone crushed because it blows these huge stone doors away.
Right after they rescued him from that pie.
Yeah, right after they got him from the pie.
Yeah, the pie. That
little birds fly out of it. They like find him in a pie and they open it up and little birds fly out. And some
little dwarf crow pie. And he had like an apple in his mouth. And some like veggies. There was some like celery and carrots.
Oh, they were gonna love it. They were gonna eat that dude so good. So he may have died.
That shot of like darkness, because it's like the light is shining down, it's basically like pushing darkness back, but then it kind of pans back to Jack, and Jack is like kind of shadowed.
Oh, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it's like all that fog is just kind of rolling around, and it was such a good like reverse parallel almost. Like it just looked so awesome.
Oh,
such an awesome shot.
And he doesn't have his sword anymore. He's got Darkness's sword, which is bigger.
Big sword.
So there's this really great sort of physicality that Tom Cruise does where he's sort of like walking really slowly, the wind's blowing, it's really foggy, and he's like a silhouette, and he's like trying to lift a sword that's as big as he is. Oh, I love that shot.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I want a poster of it.
And that's when
I do. I really want a poster of that
GIF.
shot. Oh my god, it is so good. And he cuts Darkness's hand off.
Well, that's when
Darkness
Tim
gives
Curry
a little
goes
speech
into the line about like what is light without the dark.
Yeah.
You need me.
You need me.
You know.
You basically can't kill me.
I'm a part of you.
We're not so different, you and I.
I thought it was interesting that he's Darkness when Jack cuts his hand off because he's got like the unicorn horn in the one hand. And they cut his hand off, and he basically the light pushes him all the way into looks like outer space.
Yeah, I thought it was going down.
No, but it looks like space out there.
Maybe some kind of void.
Yeah. Well, he blasts off, and then he bursts when he gets too small to see, and he turns into like 3 shooting stars that like shoot away. Which one? He's Darkness. Now he's like these like little beams of light, which I thought that was really interesting.
Is that a redemption?
No, according to Tim Curry, he's not dead, and he's obviously just blasting off to somewhere because you can't kill this sort of thing. That's supposed to insinuate that he's not gone.
It's polarity.
I mean, he's still there. He's not going away.
For every light, there's a shadow.
Yeah. I thought there was some really interesting things, like Jack with it was basically. I mean, to wrap it up, they get the unicorn horn. They all go home. Lily is out cold. She's like in a little coma kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
They gotta
wakes
wake her up
and she's like, "Oh, I had the most terrible nightmare."
Yeah, it was just a nightmare.
Yeah, and Jack is just like smiling, he's like,
whatever you say.
I think she really believes it was a nightmare because he went right along with it. He never.
And she's like, "I'm gonna go home. Can I come back tomorrow?"
Only if you sing me that song.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh my god, don't come back if we're gonna start singing more shit. I ain't ever taking you to see any." Well, how does he have to wake her up? He has to dive again and get the ring.
He got the ring
that he couldn't get. And there's a shot missing from the director's cut that I thought was actually should be in there. Really? In the theatrical cut, they take the horn and put it back on the unicorn.
Yeah, I kind of missed that.
Okay, because I was confused about that.
They have a shot where they actually put it back on and it reconnects and the horn is alive. Or the unicorn's alive again. Yeah. Fixed it. Boom. There you go.
It's like, you just have to jam it back on there. I'll be all right.
Little super glue.
Yeah.
Those horns looked a little bit wobbly.
There's when the horses are running and the prop of the horn, it kind of wobbles from time to time. Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
I was all right with that though.
But I thought what was really interesting was Ridley Scott said the ending of this director's cut with her saying like, "Okay, all right, we're all cool. I'm gonna go home," and all this stuff. He's like, "Yeah, sure," and he sort of runs back into the woods. Ridley Scott says he doesn't think they really can be together.
No.
No.
Yeah, he's she's a princess. She's apparently human. He even says in the commentary, he's like, "I think if Jack left the forest, he'd probably die." I like that.
I like that he has his own.
He has the rest of the mythos, in his head. He's got some headcanon.
Built for you.
He's got some headcanon. But they do this really great like waving scene. Was that in the director's cut where they like wave to Gump and his friends or like across the thing?
They're like the 2 unicorns.
Yeah, they're over there. Yep. And that's basically the happiest ending you can have. Like everybody's back.
I think it's a happy ending. I just think Ridley Scott didn't want it to be as happy. He's like, "Oh no, they weren't. They couldn't."
He like tells you that in the commentary to try to dash your
he
dreams.
He would die. No. No.
Jack would die if he left.
He was having a bad day. He did the commentary for this.
No, he really was insightful. I really liked listening to that. I watched it twice in a row in one night. I was drinking some beer, I watched it, and then I just played it again with the commentary.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Commentary is great. It's like watching it's like listening to a visual podcast.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's great. So, did we miss anything? Does anybody have any more that they want to say?
This podcast is not just about bad movies. I mean, it was a great movie.
I loved it. So yeah, final thoughts. This podcast is about finding out if the time we spent watching films in our childhood is worth it. So for me, as somebody who did, I say yeah, this is worth it. I love it.
You called that one.
Yeah. So did you like Shelby? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy the film as a whole?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. And just loving fantasy movies and 80s movies. I feel like if you like that genre, I mean, definitely something you should check out. It's silly and campy, but has like the best of everything, really.
Yeah, it really does. Joe, did you enjoyed it?
Enjoyed it tremendously. Looking back, I felt like it kind of set the standard for a lot of fantasy stuff that was done after that. We made a lot of like Lord of the Rings references. There's a few like C.S. Lewis stuff, which I feel was that was before that, but yeah, there's a few things. Great, I recommend it.
Yeah, highly recommended.
I think as a child, I probably wouldn't have had the attention span for that kind of movie, that length of a movie. Oh god.
That's awesome. Okay, so I mean, there it is. It's recommended. Go watch Legend if you haven't already. If you didn't, it's probably spoiled if you listen to this podcast. So we sort of got into the whole film.
Hey, if you haven't watched it, you don't really have to now.
That's right. You guys even had the impersonations down.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite catch who was doing it.
That was Cody.
It was all me.
Okay.
That was all me. I was getting into that. Awesome. Thanks, guys. That's just why I do it, I like talking like dwarves.
Who doesn't, really?
Yeah. But all right, everybody, thank you for listening to the second episode of I Remember It Fondly. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at IRFondly. And of course, tune into the Outerhaven.net where we got some other great podcasts. And you can pay attention next week where we will do our pre-show post and you can see what film we're going into next. So stay tuned there. All right.
Bye.